Welcome back, everyone. It's the Bourbon Judge. Hey, we're back at it with a double review. Yes, a double review. Excited for today. I always love, hey, 2 whiskeys, 1 episode. Let's go. Let's go.
All I got is bourbon.
Welcome back, everyone. It's the Bourbon Judge. So today we're going to dive into 2 whiskeys that I've not had yet actually before. So this is the brand new Penelope, the Wheater, as well as Dragon's Milk Origin. So really excited. I've not had either of these before. Both, this is a newer release. This one's been out for a while, but I've never had it myself. So really excited for it. All right, so let's go ahead and start. We'll start with Penelope first. So when you think about Penelope, just kind of short and sweet. I've reviewed Penelope on many different occasions. Started by 2 good friends, Mike and Danny, out of Jersey guys, and end up being acquired, I should say, by MGP. So now they're acquired by MGP. They have access to the whiskey, the whiskey heaven, if you will, from a barrel standpoint. Millions, thousands and millions of barrels just aging at MGP. So I will say Mike and Danny are still very committed to growing the Penelope brand, and I respect that. When you think about Penelope, almost everything that they have is always 4 grain, right? So always 4 grain. You think about a lot of their other products. Obviously, you have like the Cast Strength, you have the Rio, you have the Architect, you have the most recent, the Havana, which I have not tried the Havana. Not as of yet, unfortunately. Haven't found it. But this is their brand new wheated bourbon, and I'm really excited for this one. My guess is they're trying to compete with, there's a lot of different wheaters that are out there, of course, but like just wheated bourbons. The one that's in this price point that comes to mind is Bardstown Bourbon Company from the Origin series, right? A very easy, everyday sipper from a proof standpoint, but then also from a price standpoint as well. So that's my guess. They're trying to, introduce a wheated bourbon, but then also to compete with other wheated bourbons that are in the same price point as a whole. All right, so what do we know, Judge, about this brand new Penelope wheated bourbon? So again, it's 4 grain. So mash bill is 74% corn, 7% rye, 16% wheat, and 3% malted barley. Aged anywhere from 4 to 6 years. And this one's coming in at exactly 95 proof. So exactly 95 proof. All right, let's get into this nose real quick. So 95 proof. What I love about the bottle, even though I haven't even had the whiskey yet, is the price. MSRP. $40. That's not bad from a daily sipper standpoint. Not bad. Hopefully the whiskey's good. All right, very nice. Ooh, very nice. I get the first thing that comes to mind. It's almost like some baking spices with just a drizzle of honey, kind of like just drizzled on top of it. Smidge of caramel, but not a lot. More honey, more like bread, dough, kind of like a baking kind of a note to it, like a baking spice, but like a bread dough kind of a note. Which makes sense because it obviously is a wheater, right? 16% wheat. Wow, $40, not bad. All right, price-wise, not bad. Hopefully the whiskey's good. Again, age anywhere, a blend of 4 to 6 years. Pretty easy to find. I've seen this in stores. Really across the board. Newer product, but they get their stuff out there pretty quickly. I will say Penelope does a really good job from a distribution standpoint. All right, there we go. Hey, only one way to find out. Real quick, 3 quick easy favors. Number 1, hit the like button. Number 2, drop me a comment. Let me know, have you tried the brand new Penelope wheated? And if so, what are your thoughts on it? Last but not least, please make sure you also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to get notification each and every time I release new content. Cool? All right. Cheers. Ooh, damn. That's nice. That's sweet. Very sweet. Wow. Let me get a little bit more. Oh, wow. Very nice. So the proof, 95 proof. That's pretty damn good. I'm not gonna lie. For a $40 bottle, that's supposed to be like a daily sipper competing with other wheated bourbons, especially ones like Bardstown Bourbon Company, the Origin series, the wheated. That's pretty nice. From the mid end of the palate, at 95 proof, that actually kind of holds its own. What I love about it is that the nose was definitely very sweet. It was more baking spices, more like a bread dough kind of a note, but it had a lot of honey in it. What I love about it is that in the palate, all of that kind of transferred over. However, one thing definitely stood out. The rye that's in there, it's only 7%, but it definitely, in the mid end of the palate, it definitely was a bit more spicier than it was in the nose. That was a nice kind of a offset, like the sweetness, if you will. Let me get one last little sip. Wow. Very nice. Very nice. Not bad for 40 bucks. So you guys know me, I'm always gonna keep it real. Judge, is this a buy, a do not buy, or leave it on the shelf? The verdict is in. This, my friends, is a buy. This is honestly really, really, really good. For $40, I mean, this is it's excellent, honestly. For a wheated bourbon, it sips like the perfect amount of wheat in the mash bill, 16%. It has like that traditional wheaty kind of a note, like the very, like, you know, baking spices, or just like, you know, like kind of a bread dough kind of a note, if you will. Very nice, very subtle, very sweet, but a nice little pepper kick as well. Very nice. I will say, first and foremost, by the way, if you guys are interested in this bottle, or even, I haven't even tried this one yet, but if you're interested in either one of these, you can go directly over to Fruit Bat. Go over to Fruit Bat, use my code, TheBourbonJudge, and you'll get 10% off your order at Fruit Bat. Cool? All right. That is pretty damn special. All right, I need a little bit of H2O before I move over to this Dragon's Milk, the Origins. All right, Dragon's Milk. So this one's actually interesting. So they started out actually as a brewery. They started out back in 2005. So it's New Holland Brewing. So New Holland Brewing, based out of Michigan. They started out truly as a brewery, right? Brewing beer, you know, day in, day out, nothing wrong with that at all. And then they started to actually age their beer in ex-bourbon casks. Now I think at some point they probably were like, you know what, hell, we might as well just, I mean, honestly, if you think about making whiskey, what starts off? You're making a beer first. So they started to not only age their beer in ex-bourbon casks, they actually started to age and make bourbon as well, which is really cool. So very different than most brands and distilleries that are out there. I had heard about Dragon's Milk from a lot of my patrons, a lot of subscribers. People reach out all the time like, Judge, have you tried it? And I'm like, no, I have not. So I'm really excited to get this one on the channel today. But when you think about them as a whole, what they're doing is, I don't know their exact mash bill for this one here, the Dragon's Milk, the Origin. However, they're known for the most part of using more of like a high malt whiskey in their mash bill. So more malted barley in their mash bill, which is very unique. And then they also use a pot still, which not a lot of distilleries use pot still. So that's gonna be interesting. Let me get into this nose. I love the bottle design. If you take a look at that, that bottle design is pretty damn badass. Dragon's Milk Origin, small batch. Love it. Pretty cool. Not bad at all. Let me get to the nose real quick. Ooh, nice. All right. So they also, when I'm thinking about this brand, they make not only the small batch, but they also make a cask strength, a toasted version, a bottled in bond, a honey. So they make a lot of different like finishes, which is pretty cool. But this one, again, is a small batch, aged 5 years, and comes in at exactly 95 proof. I'm going to sip this one, and then I'm going to actually have a, let's call it an elevated version of this one. Good friend of mine, my buddy Paul. Paul sent me the Dragon's Milk Origin, a toasted single barrel cask strength. So I'm going to try that one after this one, just to kind of compare. Now, obviously, the cask strength is obviously a higher proof point than the 95, but it'd be interesting just to kind of see the similarities yet differences as well. All right, 95 proof. You can definitely find it online. I've never seen this in a store by me on the East Coast. I've never seen Dragon's Milk Origin on the East Coast. I mean, I know they're based out of Michigan, but I've never seen their products on the East Coast, at least not anywhere from New Jersey down to like DC area. Ooh, very interesting nose. Wow. The nose has like a very like citrus, some black pepper, almost like a burnt orange peel kind of a note to it. Citrus, some burnt orange peel. some baking spices, and a smidge of like a licorice note to it. Just a smidge, not a ton. All right, so Judge, what's the price on this Dragon's Milk Origin? $70. So definitely a little bit more on the higher side from a price standpoint for a small batch, 95 proof. But hey, maybe it's worth it. We shall see. Wow. All right. Not bad. Here we go. Cheers. Wow. That is very different. So I get the whole pot still, and I get having a lot more malted barley in the mash bill. It doesn't taste like, honestly, any of the whiskey that's on the market. This is only 95 proof. It is. It's only 95 proof. Very interesting. All right, let me get another little sip. Wow. That's very unique. Wow, you definitely get, oh yeah, what was in the nose, like that subtle note of like a licorice kind of a note, mixed with like a burnt orange peel, a smidge of caramel, but not a lot. This is more earthy, if you will, right? More earthy, more robust, very vibrant. That's very unique, extremely unique. All right. So between just like looking at this one by itself, before I give it a judgment, I want to try the cast strength version just to see how similar versus how different it is. So this one I got from Paul is the same thing, but it's just in a toasted single barrel at cast strength. You get a different glass. This will be interesting to see. Just want to know how similar yet how different are they. All right, so this one comes in, I should say, at 122.1 proof. Single barrel, not sure exactly where Paul got this from, like what store or our online partner. But let me dive into this one real quick. So, slightly similar nose, but this one has a lot more like caramel, brown sugar, and like oak to it. Oh yeah, way more similar to like the traditional bourbon notes that you would get. This was kind of like in left field. This one, maybe because it's a toasted finish, it's a lot more sweeter in the nose. A lot more brown sugar, caramel, leather, but you still get a subtle note of like the baking spices, that burnt orange peel, but not nearly as powerful as that one is. All right, here we go. Cheers. Ooh. Wow. That sweetness in the toasted version definitely offsets like the earthiness of like the licorice, the like burnt orange peel kind of a note. That's very nice. All right. I think I have my judgments. So for the Dragon's Milk Origin, wow, that's really bold, by the way. That one was bold for 95 proof. That's interesting. For the Dragon's Milk Origin, I'm going to give that one a split decision. It's very good, but it's very unique. Extremely unique. This is one where I think it's a split decision. You definitely need to try it at a bar or at a friend's house. I would say by far. Now, this one here, the same version, but a cast strength single barrel that's a toasted finish. For me, that is a buy. I don't know where Paul got this from, but that is definitely a buy. That's really, really good. This is probably a bit more, I guess, well-rounded. One that, regardless of like, you know, like your overall like preference from a whiskey standpoint, it's very much kind of like down like the main line, if you will, from like a traditional bourbon note or bourbon nose, as well as palate and finish as well. Much more traditional brown sugar, caramel, leather, but it does have a little bit of that funk in it, but not as much funk as this one does. Like the small batch is very potent from a licorice, black pepper, and earthy kind of a note. A little bit more than I think maybe most people would like. So for me, split decision, but that single barrel is definitely a buy. That toasted, That is delicious, and I'm gonna finish this. No way I'm leaving it in the glass. Hey friends, until the next time. Peace, cheers. Most important, salute. And again, by the way, if you're looking for the Penelope or the Dragon's Milk Origin, go ahead, check it out over at Fruit Bat. Use my code, TheBourbonJudge, and get 10% off your first order. Cheers. Take care. See you guys.